Welcome to my YouTube channel. I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell for the notification of the next video. What are the protein foods with few fats? Here are the lean proteins to know to stay fit. It is not necessary to follow a protein diet to be slender and fit. Just know how to recognize protein foods with few fats and insert them in the weekly diet. Protein foods with few fats. Not all of us are able to calculate the calorie intake of a dish and balance its nutrients, including proteins. For this reason, before following the iron diet letter, such as the protein diet, it is better to contact a specialist. What we know, however, is that inserting a protein food with each meal is a good way to lose weight in a healthy way. Always keeping in mind that the recommended protein intake for an adult who carries out moderate physical activity is 1.2 grams per kilogram. The must-haves of the pantry become the foods with few fats and rich in lean proteins. But what are proteins for really? Let's understand it together. What are proteins for? Proteins. We often name them, but we know what they are and what they are only in broad lines for. The proteins, technically, are biomolecules consisting of amino acid chains. They are important because they represent a fundamental part of our cells and contain elements necessary for the proper functioning of the body, such as phosphorus, copper, iron, zinc, and sulfur. Proteins are found in muscles, blood, and fabrics. Our body is formed at 15% sign by protein, and a balanced diet should provide 13% sign of the total daily calorie in protein. But if we hired too many proteins, the principle of protein and hyperprot diet is to avoid fat and carbohydrates by pushing the body to fish part of the necessary nourishment by attacking the glucose reserves. Both suggest they strongly limit carbohydrates in favor of proteins, especially of animal origin. Often, however, we tend to leave out the boomerang effect. The excessive intake of protein involves the liberation of toxic substances that are difficult to dispose of. So if you follow a protein diet, you need to limit its duration and drink a lot in order not to strain the kidneys. In order not to run in fact problematic side effects and avoid the yo-yo effect, it is important to know protein foods with few fats and introduce them into the diet in a stable way and without exaggerating with the quantities. The list of protein foods with few fats. By taking protein foods, we increase the amount of energy that our body burns to digest. In doing so, the basic metabolism rises, key factor for keep fit. But to contribute to a healthy diet to follow 365 days a year, it is not enough to increase the protein component. It is necessary to insert foods rich in protein, but poor in fats or carbohydrates. Here is a list. 1. Legumes. Among the richest legumes of protein we find lentils, beans, chickpeas, and soybeans. The so-called meat of the po is very versatile in the kitchen, has few fats, and gives a good intake of vegetable proteins. 2 elaborate versions and ready-to-eat of soy are tofu and tempeh, to be added in salad or consume as a second course. 2. Dried fruit and seeds. Dry fruit is an important source of protein and energy, but it is risky from a caloric point of view. If you want to consume only protein foods with a few fatty foods, you can give nuts in small quantities. The fats it contains are good because they lower the levels of bad cholesterol and shelter pumpkin and sunflower seeds. Chia seeds are also protein and do not make you fat. 3. Cereals or pseudocereals. Popular especially among those who follow a vegetarian and vegan diet and seek alternative protein products to soy, wheat muscle, seitan, and mopper meat. Derive wheat rich in proteins and po fats. Healthy proteins, which easily transform into protein foods for the gym. 4. Eggs. It is common to think that eggs are a very protein food, and the reality of the facts does not deny the statement because they contain 93% of proteins, a real concentrate of energy. Most of the proteins are found in the album that, unlike the yolk, are practically fatless. Without wanting to dispel the myth of the protein egg, we point out another 8 foods that contain more proteins than eggs. 5. Dairy products. The cheeses do not fall exactly in the category of food with few fats, but there are some more thin and no less protein types. Choose partially skimmed yogurt, cow ricotta, milk flakes, and Greek yogurt. 6. Meat and fish. Among the lean meats, foods rich in protein for the support of the muscles, we find chicken breast, turkey, and bresaola fresa. If instead you prefer the fish, put in the natural tuna list, mackerel and anchovies. The essential protein foods for those who go to the gym. If you are a sporty, perhaps competitive, and you want to take protein foods to support the muscles without gaining weight and maximize the training results, do not forget walnuts, lignin, and quinoa oil. The former are essential for muscle growth. The second is full of proteins but also of omega-3, while the third reintegrate energy reserves after an intense training with proteins and magnesium in abundance. An old belief has it that the absorption of proteins is limited to 30 grams of protein per meal. However, it seems that this statement is too generalized, because it does not take into account individual variability. If you want to get an idea of this general limit, know that 30 grams of protein correspond to 90 grams of chicken, an abundant cup of egg white, lentils, or milk bows. In general, combining lean proteins with whole grains and good fats is a great way to have the right sprint before and after sport. The metabolism reactivates and the good mood increases. How do you make the calorie and nutritional calculation of a dish? If we want to keep the weight under control, we must be able to calculate the calories of what we are eating. To count how many calories they contain 100 grams of product, there are many apps, but you just need to know the kcals in 100 grams of each element you put on the plate, and weigh the edible part. Making the sum of the calories of each food for the right quantity, you will get the overall calories of your meal. Keep the weight under control, and lower the overall calorie intake. It will be easier if you decide to use protein foods with few fats. To get a complete picture and better manage your weekly menu, consult a table of protein foods indicating the amount of proteins and fats contained in each element. Save it on the smartphone or hang it in the kitchen, in the old way. Up to now I have finished my video. Don't forget to register for the channel. I wish you good luck. Until we meet again.